Film, I think, is an extraordinary vehicle for learning about storytelling. One of the most important books I have read, has been incredibly important for me as a writer, is by one of the iconic figures in screenwriting, Robert McKee. And the book is called Story. And the whole point of McKee's perspective is that at the end of the day, movies have to tell stories. Now, in many ways, films have traps and are very driven by a very specific structure. You have to tell a story in 2 hours. And so that creates a very lean approach to how you tell your story. That also includes some discipline in that you can't just go on with dialogue. The dialogue actually has to move the story and the action further with each word. So there's an economy of words that is very important. Also, the way dialogue and action is structured to create tension is very clear in screenwriting and in movies because they have to move the audience along in a very defined space. And so what I have found is that we can learn a lot. And in fact, the workshop that I run on this is also to see how in film, when it's done well, the economy that comes with storytelling by tapping into every tool that's available to the filmmaker really helps us as writers improve too, because we have to become efficient writers and we have to tell stories and we have to tell something about our characters through different media. And part of that is breaking down a scene in a film and saying, okay, what's really happening here? How do I know that that character is angry? How do I know that they're suddenly lost? And since film is a visual storytelling device, most of that is conveyed visually, which means that as a writer, we would really just think about how we describe that. How do we know that that word means something different? So I just used an example in a recent workshop where you just take one word, and actually the word was dude, which is, you think, it's a contemporary word. Well, depending on how it's used, it can be very angry. You can say, like if I'm reprimanding my dog, I'm saying, dude, or if I'm talking to someone, I'm like, I'm just bewildered by something, I'm like, dude, what were you thinking? That type of thing. So film as a visual medium allows us as writers to really begin to focus on description, allows us to focus on how we convey the emotions of characters in the story through a descriptive device, although it's visual. And I think one of the things that Robert McKee really drove home for me, which was really important as a writer and as a creator, is that humans are visual animals. We have 5 senses, but we interpret our world visually. Yes, audio is important, auditory part's important. Yes, we process things analytically when we read them, but writing is actually a very analytical enterprise in the sense you have to interpret the words, those words then have to be filtered. So what McKee and other filmmakers, it's not just Robert McKee, filmmakers realize that we interpret the world visually. And because of that, it allows me as a writer to begin to think about how I can visualize my scenes, visualize my characters in a way to connect to the characters in ways I couldn't do before. So I'm a big fan of watching movies, but also watching them critically. And as a film critic, I've seen a lot more of this, and it's been a lot of fun to sort of expand my own storytelling understanding by sort of looking at the two media. But the media are very different. So we can do things in a novel that filmmakers can't. Another very important sense for humans is touch. And in fact, humans bond over touch. If we look at sort of human behavior and we look at psychology, we don't bond over sight, we bond over touch. As writers, we can explore touch, but filmmakers can't do that. So the media lend themselves to different ways of storytelling and connecting to viewers or readers. And I think if we're aware of that, we can learn a lot from both medium.